Not even sure.
I
took the trip down to Texas when they had their first convention to see what these conventions could look like, and I had the opportunity to meet Matt. He's been involved really from the beginning for Legacy Party and served as the interim CEO after the merger with Sam Duran, and has continued to serve in the national leadership realm and helping to guide the direction of the National Forward Party. So we're honored to have him here with us today to talk about Pennsylvania's role in the vision of the National Forward Party and the things that are happening in Forward National. So join me in welcoming Matt here with us today.
And I'm an awful contemporaneous speaker, so I've got notes here, and I apologize for looking down here. Your photos are just not going to pop the way that other people's are. Christian said that he's honored to have me here today. I'm really honored to be here today. I'm also, can you hear me? Yeah. Awesome. All right. Just at every single day that I show up, a lot of the times it's in my role, looking at spreadsheets, dealing with board members, dealing with finances, making sure our bills are paid on time and all of that. It's just really special for me to be able to show up here today, see a room full of people who are taking their Saturday away from friends, away from family, away from just sitting around, drinking a beer by the pool because it's kind of nice out these days, and relaxing to engage in this crazy project that we're all a part of. So just honored to be here, honored to be invited to speak at this event, honored to meet those of you who I have not met before, honored to see those of you who have continued to stick around. It's just such a testament to every single person here. The amount of dedication and passion that you have for this. Want to start with a little bit of a story that I think actually might never have been told before about the Forward Party. The Forward Party started out as a line in a poll. When Andrew was thinking about running for mayor of New York City, he put a poll out to see if he could run as an independent, as a part of a new party, and have a chance at winning. And the poll came back resoundingly that he could not do that in any way. He would have no support. He would be dead out of the gate. So thinking about that and thinking about today, it's amazing how much that has changed. From absolutely no support whatsoever in this poll to literally a room of fantastic people showing up passionate about the idea of the Forward Party. In reality, that's not when the Forward Party started. That's when it got a name, when we needed to put something into the poll. But it's been something underlying American politics for quite some time now. It's this dissatisfaction that Americans feel every day when they look at our leaders and say, how did we end up with these people? When we are supposed to be the ones whose voices are heard, when these people are supposed to represent us. They don't represent me, and I don't know how we got here. And yet there's no organized effort out there really to drive towards leaders of character over all of the other partisan fighting that is going on there. It used to be the case that character mattered in our elected officials, and it really feels maybe more this week than in my entire adult life, that is not the case anymore. And so it's great to see this idea starting to take shape with everybody in here. And so I'm gonna sound like a broken record in thanking you all over and over again, but it's just, it's amazing to see what's going on out here in the Keystone State. Y'all are, I would feel pretty comfortable saying, if not the most successful of all of our state parties, one of the most successful. And that's really a testament to the quality of the membership and the quality of leadership. Very happy to see Christian get reelected today. He's a fantastic leader. He's a fantastic person to work with. He's not only leading the Pennsylvania party, but he is traveling around the country now to make sure that electoral reforms are made a reality, to make sure that good independent candidates have a chance at winning out there. So just let's give Christian a hand. We've got, and I'm not going to be able to thank everybody, so I apologize for anybody not on my list, but I always have to thank people like Ben. Where's Ben sitting? Ben. I was a stage manager when I was in the theater, and I feel like the people who make sure all of the things are done and in place are the most important people who never get the credit. I see you, Ben. You do fantastic work making sure everything's running smoothly. Thank you so much. And I also, Jazz and Rachel, two fantastic leaders from the state of Pennsylvania who are also engaged in the committee work at the national level, finding more ways to bring all of the forward people together in different ways in order to advance our goals. So really appreciate the time and the leadership that both of you have on that front. Ruth as well from Ohio, who, and sorry, Ruth, I'm doing all these acronyms to Pennsylvania. We love Ohio too.
Next year.
Next year, I will fly out to Ohio. I will make that promise right now in front of everybody. I will come to the Ohio Convention.
Awesome, I love it.
And it will be fantastic. We also have some of our great elected officials and candidates in the room. We've got multiple Chris's, an elected Chris and a Chris running for office. We've got Eric Cameron. I don't know if he headed out already, and I think we have not officially endorsed somebody else, so I'm not going to say their name right now. But really think about what that means to have people raise their hand and run for office supported by the Forward Party. It means that they trust everybody in this room with their public reputation, with their campaign. We are the ones who have to support them, and the fact that we have individuals such as them of such high caliber and such high character trusting us with that is just such a great testament to all of the work that we're doing here. I really can't think of many callings higher than running for office, especially in the current climate. It's thankless, and quite frankly, it's dangerous, and the fact that every single one of you is standing up and running for office is something I would never do. I am in awe of each and every one of you, so thank you for running for office, especially running for office as a Forward-affiliated candidate or as a member of the Forward Party. So thank you very much to that. I already said that Pennsylvania is well ahead of everybody else, not everybody else, but most of the other states out there. And at the national organization, we really are unbelievably dedicated to making sure that that momentum continues on in any way that we can. I am Matt at forwardparty.com. Shoot me an email if there's ever anything that you need, or even if you just want to joke around about stuff. I think Gus is going to be sending me reviews of Star Trek TV shows for a little while now because he knows how much of a nerd I am. Those are always fun emails to get, but politics is hard. What we're doing is even harder. Reach out to me for anything that you need. We are all here to help each other. We're all here to enjoy the friendships that we're going to develop from all of this. Pennsylvania is such a key state in this country. It's important politically. It's something that, it's a state that everybody's going to have their eyes on come the fall. It is a very diverse state. Going from Philadelphia to Western Pennsylvania, you get pretty much every kind of American there is somewhere in the state. So it's a great bellwether on that front. It's a state where the election results were challenged, and election officials in the state stood up to intense pressure from national leaders. So it's a state of great character, and so we can find great character here in order to elevate. It's the home of the Eagles, the Birds. I'm an Eagles fan, despite being from New Jersey. And I apologize to everybody who's not an Eagles fan. That's rough. There's honestly not a day that goes by that we are not having a conversation about Pennsylvania at the national organization. Craig knows this because I've got meetings with him almost every day, and I'm pretty sure that he wishes that weren't the case. So thank you for putting up with me on that front. We are invested in Pennsylvania in a way that we are just not in a lot of the other states, and that's largely because of the huge amount of momentum and the quality of the leadership that is built up here through all of the hard work that's going on here. Not to downplay the hard work that has gone on in any other state, but in Pennsylvania, y'all have just really knocked it out of the park as far as kind of building up a state party is concerned. So just really give yourselves a round of applause, because it is not an easy thing to do. I'm serious. Give yourself a round of applause. Craig, in your political career, how many state parties have you seen just utterly collapse from dysfunction and lack of any type of internal cohesion?
Oh, too many.
Yeah, and that's with the National Republican Party supporting them. I was at a DNC meeting where they stripped a party of their recognition because the state party was such a disaster. Christian, I know that you were hoping to have 70+ people in here. I can't tell you the fact that this many people in a room on a Saturday for a political party, a Democratic or a Republican political party would be happy to have 35 people in a room on a Sunday to talk about bylaws. The fact that you have it here is an amazing, amazing. And again, Ben, great job running that process. It went unbelievably smoothly. At the national level, I want to lay out a little bit about how we're structured, because we've got different teams that are working on different things, and all of them are relevant to the work that's going on in the Pennsylvania party. So I want to make sure everybody knows whom to reach out to for different elements. We have a candidate team. Our candidate team is currently made up of Rich Horner. He's a former political director for the New York Democratic Party. We've got Jake Mellon, who, if you've received any emails from us in the past few weeks, it's come from Jake. He's just an amazing organizer, has a history in public service. And then Carrie Ann is our new team member. She worked for Run for Something, recruiting candidates. If you need help supporting candidates, recruiting candidates, doing any of that work, we have a team set up for that specific purpose, for the endorsement purpose. That also runs through John Kingston, our board member. We've got our state party team. The board level position is held by Governor Christine Todd Whitman, and she absolutely loves talking with the state leads. So if you ever want her to show up to a meeting, shoot me a note. If she is free, she will be there. She's always asking me to add her onto more of those meetings. That team is also worked on by Lucy Caldwell, who is a long-term political operative. She worked in Republican politics for a while. She left the Republican Party sometime around 2016, and she is very happy to do the work in Pennsylvania, as you all have a very well-developed strategy to get from where you are to party recognition. We've got our comms team that is largely me. Send me your photos, because I love to put photos of people online. There's only so many ways you can talk about ranked choice voting before people start saying, stop talking about ranked choice voting. But people always love to see pictures of other humans doing the work, putting a face to it. It is so much easier to tell human stories than it is to talk about ranked choice voting. Our finance committee is dedicated to making sure that you all have the resources you need to get your candidates on the ballot, to support those candidates, to make sure that all of the operations are funded and all of that. I am on an email thread that is going on right now, talking about that with our finance chairs. They are trying to get money in the state so that all of the work that needs to get done here can continue to get done. There's the ops team, which if they're doing your job, you don't know they exist, because things just run smoothly and your email works and your website works and all of that. And I head that up too, so you can shoot me an email on that front. As far as kind of the focus of the national organization right now, we made the decision at the end of 2023, since we needed to be relevant in the 2024 conversation, that we were going to pivot to that reverse coattail strategy. We were going to recruit and affiliate with down-ballot candidates who are running against extremists in order to make sure that low propensity voters who might not be happy with any of your options at the top of the ticket would show up to vote, and once they showed up to vote, they would vote for better people at the top of the ticket as well. So that's what we've been focused on this year, really building out a strong recruitment pipeline. That is the work that Carrie Ann has been doing. She is kind of going state by state as filing deadlines pass. Arizona just passed. She recruited 6 people for the school board. We've got Virginia and Florida up next, and Pennsylvania has late filing deadlines, so on the list there. But what we have found from this work is people do not commit to run for office for the most part until about 3 days before the filing deadline. If you ask them, will you run for office? Oh yeah, sure, give me a call in a little while, I'll think about it. No, you have to file tomorrow. Oh, okay, I guess I better go down right now. That's how that generally works. So we've been leaning a lot on that. We've been leaning into identifying key federal races where there are extremists running for office and there are good people running against them. That does describe some races in Pennsylvania. We've been in talks with some of the candidates for federal office here. We've got some great candidates in the pipeline, nothing ready to go yet, but definitely working on that. There's some other candidates that we already endorsed in the past week. People like John Avalon in New York 1, who's running against Nick Lauda, an election denier. We've got in Utah, we're supporting John Curtis for US Senate, and he is essentially Mitt Romney's chosen successor. And in Utah, Republicans going to win that race, so let's get involved in the primary and find the one who is going to be the best Republican senator that the state can have. Mitt Romney retiring from the Senate, definitely a voice who's willing to work with the other side, so we want to maintain that in that state. And then we've got people like Shalane Etchison, who is running in North Carolina as an independent. It's going to be really hard this cycle for an independent to win at the federal level. There's going to be millions upon millions of dollars dumped in by the 2 major parties in order to shift the balance of the House to the Democrats or maintain it for the Republicans. but Shalene is an Army veteran. She is one of the first women in a Special Forces unit. She spent her time after leaving the service as a foreign security specialist. She worked with the Kurdistani government for a while in order to go on that. And so the type of people that we want to support. So this is what we're looking for. She is an amazing candidate. Look her up. I can't say donate to her campaign. I hope nobody's a regulator. So that's what 2024 looks like. What do the next few years look like? After 2024, we're really putting ourselves on a roadmap to work for recognition at the federal level by 2028. That unlocks a lot of ability for us to support our state and local candidates and our parties. The hardest part of that work is getting a number of candidates to run for federal office on the forward party line in a diversity of states. Somewhere between 6 and 10 people have to run for US House on the forward party line, and it can't all be in New England, because then we'd just be a regional party. It's got to be across the state. Hope I'm not putting too much pressure on y'all, but y'all need to be on that list because we need a House candidate from Pennsylvania on there in order to get that recognition and move forward on there. So this road mapping work of building towards these federal campaigns, building the infrastructure in the states to support those federal campaigns is one of the key things that we're working on, as well as the fulcrum strategy that Craig was talking about. Where does Pennsylvania factor in there? The House is what, 102 to 101 right now? One seat. You can pick off one seat, it's now a tie. If you pick off 2 seats, you can set the agenda in that House. So we are focusing on states like Pennsylvania that are on a razor's edge, and there's only a handful of them, to build these fulcra out at the state level, while also looking at opportunities to do so at the federal level. There's an unbelievably large amount of power that can be held if you can pick off a few of these seats, especially in a state like Pennsylvania. And Pennsylvania has some weird rules in certain areas about the certain bodies needing to be split. You have to have 2 members of one party and 1 member of another on a 3-person panel. That's how other parties in the past have ended up getting a representative elected in Pennsylvania. It's definitely on the agenda for forward party in the next cycles to look at those seats as well. So those are our big focuses over the next few years, outside of investing in all of the states in order to build up the infrastructure out there. Been talking with a few of you today, and one thing that keeps on coming up is this is some of the hardest work that you can be engaged in. We are not just trying to run a candidate for office or get somebody elected who's an outsider. We are trying to fundamentally shift the way people think about the way they engage with politics. We have been trained over decades now to think about only 2 viable options, and you have to be part of one of 2 teams. And those 2 teams are based solely around needing to agree on every single policy issue out there. But that's not how humans work. We are not like that. I am an unbelievably progressive person on most issues, except for I'm also very much a free market capitalist, and I've got pretty strong Second Amendment feelings as well. We've got other members of the executive team who are very, very conservative, except for they think that single-payer healthcare is the only way to do healthcare in a rational manner. We've got socially liberal and fiscally conservative people. We've got the opposite. People are more complicated than our current 2-party system represents. We are a nation of 350 million people, and yet we only have 2 options. That is crazy out there. And yet this is the world that people have lived in. And it's almost a feature from the 2 legacy parties that people feel so beat down. Because if they feel beat down, then they're not going to challenge it. They're just going to accept it. They're going to be unhappy. They're going to pick the better of 2 options. If we look around the room right now, I see people running for office who are better than the 2 options that we've gotten in pretty much every election that I have voted in my entire life. They've stood up, they have trusted us with their campaigns, with their candidacy, and they are showing Pennsylvanians, they are showing Americans what better leadership, what good leadership can look like. We've got people in this room who I don't think have necessarily seen that in their adult lives. Jazz. The generation is disenchanted with politics for a reason. It has been broken for their entire adult lives. This is going to be hard. There are literally billions and billions of dollars stacked against us. The power structures are designed to keep us out. Even if you look at some of the reforms that are pushed for, it is things like bipartisan redistricting commissions. Well, what about us in the 3rd parties? What about independents? They're not represented in a bipartisan commission. The system almost assumes that things will continue the way they are, And it's going to take a massive amount of work, a massive amount of sweat and tears in order to change these things. Y'all are here on a Saturday when it is beautiful outside to make that happen, which gives me a lot of hope that in this room we've got the blood, we've got the sweat, we've got the tears that we need in order to make these things happen. It's going to be a long fight, it's going to be a hard fight, and the opposition is going to come at us really, really hard as soon as we start to really make headway on that. And Eric and Chris, I think you two might be the first to bear the brunt of some of that. But remember that we are doing this, I'm not going to say, somebody in this room said they've been parts of other work where people weren't in it for the right reasons. Every single person I've ever talked to at Forward is in this for the right reasons. And that's why we're going to eventually win. So thank you for being here. Thank you for listening to me ramble on. Schedule permitting, I am happy to answer any questions. I'm much better at answering questions than making speeches. Nailed it then, I guess.
All right. Thank you, Matt.